Taylor.
Thank you very much, Sir Edward. A pleasure to serve under your chairship. I'd also like to thank the Honourable Member for Rushcliffe for bringing this very important and timely debate. Like so many of my constituents, I was delighted to hear last week the Hong Kong BNO passport holders will keep their 5-year route to settlement. We on the Liberal Democrat benches have fought hard for this, so I'm pleased to see the government finally respond to our campaign. Britain and Hong Kong share a special relationship, and nowhere is that clearer than in my constituency of Sutton and Cheam and across Sutton Borough. Thousands of Hong Kongers have built their lives, raised families and grown thriving businesses in Sutton. They're a part of the very fabric of the borough I am proud to call home. Though I welcome the government's decision, my inbox and social media has been flooded with messages from BNO holders rightly demanding further clarity. I therefore want to call on the Minister to answer their 3 most pressing concerns. The first on the new requirement for earnings. Will the new earnings requirement for settlement status above £12,570 be applicable to BNO visa holders? Many Hong Kongers are retired, studying full-time and caring for children or for loved ones. This requirement will cut directly against the humanitarian intent of the BNO visa. Any new sustained and measurable economic contribution test or minimum income rule risk permanently excluding those entirely legitimate residents. These Hong Kongers are already fully integrated in their communities and contributing to British society in non-financial ways. Earning less does not mean contributing less. That might just not always show through a payslip. The second, on the English language requirement. Will the new English language requirement B2 be applicable to BNO visa holders? For many families, this will be a huge and unexpected hurdle. Tens of thousands of BNO holders will reach the 5-year point and become eligible for settlement in 2026. A sudden increase to B2 level without adequate notice or transition would throw many vulnerable residents off balance and deny permanent status to people who have lived, worked and put down roots in Britain for half a decade. On the third, on the 20-year route protection, I'm extremely concerned about the combination of the new 20-year baseline for refugees on the core protection routes and the suggested additional 20-year extension for anyone who entered as a visitor will apply to Hong Kong political exiles who have no access to the BNO visa scheme. Many young activists, particularly those born after 97 or whose parents never registered for the BNO status, have no safe legal route to the UK. They are compelled to travel to the UK as visa-free visitors and only claim asylum once inside the country. They fear declaring an asylum intention at the border would lead to detention or being refused entry and return to Hong Kong. They're often subject to surveillance and oppression by Chinese authorities while in Hong Kong and have needed the time in the UK to prepare adequate evidence to present to the Home Office. These are political refugees fleeing persecution in Hong Kong at the hands of the CCP. So imposing a 40-year wait for settlement on brave young dissidents would be wholly disproportionate. In refusing to consider Hong Kongers for these types of exemption, we do not simply adjust a policy, we threaten a humanitarian corridor that has long connected two nations through history, culture and a shared belief in freedom. Thank you.
Yeah. More specifically to the BNO routes which we have spoken about today, the government remains steadfast in its support for members of the Hong Kong community in the UK and is fully committed to the BNO route, which will continue to welcome Hong Kongers. We fully recognise the significant contribution that Hong Kongers have already made to the UK and the role they will continue to play in the years ahead. That is why we have confirmed that those on the BNO visa route will continue to be able to settle in the UK after living here for 5 years, subject to the mandatory requirements. The BNO route is a unique immigration route that was established following China's passing of the National Security Law and reflects the UK's historic and moral commitment to the people of Hong Kong.
Just on that, I would like to ask 3 questions really on those mandatory requirements, which in a way are being applied retrospectively, those minimum thresholds. So firstly, I would like to ask whether the minimum salary threshold for 3 to 5 years will be applied retrospectively to BNO visa holders, whether a tax contribution requirement will be applicable to all family members, including non-working dependents. And thirdly, in terms of the language requirement from B1 to B2, given that some of my constituents only have 1 more year remaining, have you assessed whether test centres and resources and staffing are available, or whether you would actually accept equivalents to that B2, such as those who have passed university degrees in English language because they were a British dependent territory at the time when they got their degrees? Thank you.
Thank the Honourable Member for her questions. I will come to that detail very shortly, but just to warn you in advance, we of course are going through the consultation period. Retaining a 5-year settlement period for BNO visa holders provides certainty to Hong Kongers and ensures the UK continues to honour its historical commitments. The BNO route will be included in the new earned settlement framework, with those holding a BNO visa given a 5-year reduction from the 10-year qualifying period. The new mandatory requirements for settlement are basic requirements that we think are reasonable in general for people to meet if they settle here. But we are interested in views on whether certain groups should be exempt from these, and I stress now, no decisions have been made on this. But I have listened to you all today, and we are consulting on transitional arrangements for those who are here, for such as vulnerable groups and those within the BNO route. We are also consulting on the English language levels, which I've heard spoken about by a number of members today. Also, the concerns raised by a number of you, again, around assets versus income. It's a strong argument, and that will be taken into consideration when making these decisions. And also the possibility of extension of the route for those born after 1997. I'm also interested in the survey that the Honourable Member for Rushcliffe mentioned of 5,000 having completed, and I'd like to have sight of that before these decisions are made over the next 12 weeks. I've taken away a number of questions, including my honourable friend for Exeter, and I'm keen to go dragon boating with the community at some point. Perhaps I could listen to them more and learn more over the next 12 weeks. And there's been a number of points made and repeated, and all of that has been taken away for consideration.